Hey guys, Scott here with a short, very late night video. Haven't been feeling so great, so I've just been kind of spending time researching history of asymmetrical games and things like that. And someone on Twitter brought up Evolve, and I was like, oh yeah, what actually happened to that game? So I did a bunch of research on Evolve, and it's pretty interesting going over the history of like why that game ended up not succeeding. And during all this research, I found a giant Reddit post by one of the developers, Matt Colville, and I want to go over a lot of the things that he says because they are scary for a certain reason. And I want to give some insight into my mind of why I'm so scared of Dead by Daylight being, like an esport sweaty game and stuff like that. Because I think that's one of the primary reasons that Evolve started not doing good. But it's more than that. So I kind of want to go into it a little bit. Just some of the stuff that this developer says, though, here, I'm just going to read it, and if this doesn't resonate with you, and you're a Dead by Day player, or a Dead by Daylight player, then I don't know what will. So here, just this part. 4v1 was awesome. It sounded awesome, everyone loved it, we prototyped it, and it worked. Sort of. A friend of mine said very early, and I think he was right, the reason it works is because we're all role-playing, playing Evolve. In other words, we all knew how we wished the game would work, and so that's how we played it. When someone on the team finally got tired of this, and started playing to win, it sort of fell apart and never really recovered. So that is Dead by Daylight to a T. That is a perfect encapsulation of what Dead by Daylight is. If you play the game in probably the way that the devs intended, and this is, a lot of people preferred that the game would be, balanced in such a way, even though it's not, where, everyone gets hooked 3 times and it's 12 hooks and the game is not 5 minutes long, and everyone gets a chance to chase, everyone is doing a bunch of stuff, then that is, that's an ideal vision for the game, and that's great. However, as soon as you get one person that starts playing not to adhere to that philosophy and just play solely to win, then the entire game falls apart. And that is exactly how Dead by Daylight works. As soon as you get, one spirit or whatever that just slugs and tunnels a group of random people or something like that, the entire game just falls apart because that spirit's pretty much guaranteed to win. However, on the flip side, if you get a super sweaty 4-man that's going against, just fucking Cloud or something, and they're all just playing to win, the game falls apart because in both scenarios, there's probably nothing the other side can really do. And it comes down to that playing just to win thing. I'm going to read more because, again, so much of this resonates with Dead by Daylight. I literally just made the video because I read this quote and went, holy shit, this is this game. The fact that all the heroes were all different from each other mechanically, so perks and stuff like that. All the monsters were different from each other. All the killers are different from each other. And neither the heroes nor the monsters used any of the same mechanics, which they don't. It made it very, very hard to balance new heroes and monsters. So again, this is exactly Dead by Daylight's main problem, because everything is so different and nothing really has been done like this before successfully. It's incredibly hard, if not impossible, to perfectly balance or even come kind of close to balancing this game correctly. However, let's look at the two games. Well, Evolve did this and Dead by Daylight did this. This is identical almost. And yet Evolve is dead, Dead by Daylight 2 is just fine. So what is the actual difference? Was it like the microtransactions and stuff? Because Evolve had a bunch of those things. You had to buy new killers, you had to buy new cosmetics for, your guns and stuff like that. But Dead by Daylight does that too. You have to buy new killers, you can buy cosmetics for your characters and stuff like that. So I don't think that's quite it, because they kind of do the same thing. There's the update cycle, which they actually go over down here as well. They had the same update cycle as DBD, basically every 3 months. The difference being that they actually wanted to update more, but their publisher didn't really let them. Whereas Behavior is their own publisher, so that's not really an excuse. So I don't think it's that either, that it wasn't updated enough. The only differentiating factor that I could actually find that separated them is that Evolve, despite having the same problem as Dead by Daylight, was made and marketed as a sweaty esport competitive game. I don't know if you guys remember the marketing for this game. It's cringy as shit. Do you guys remember like the trailers and stuff like that, where it's like it's a gaming game for gamers? Like it was that whole dumb shit where it was made like to be a sweaty competitive game. They tried to force esports upon it, and I think that is the key differentiating factor between that game and Dead by Daylight, because Dead by Daylight it doesn't force that down your throat. that's why I'm scared about the whole MMR thing, and that's why I'm scared about where that could lead to. I'm not saying it's going to lead to a sweaty tournament scene and things like that, where that is, what I'm so scared of. It doesn't necessarily mean that's going to. But I just wanted to explain real quick in a video why I have that pit feeling in my stomach, because MMR is typically associated with, pretty competitive games like that. And that was the only differentiating factor between Evolve and Dead by Daylight I could find. One was made for esports, one was not really made for esports. And if you play the game just to win and not how the devs, probably envisioned how the game should work, then the game falls apart. And it's exacerbated when it's viewed as a competitive game. But if it's just a whatever, who cares game, it's not viewed as badly. And people won't really even necessarily try to just be super sweaty and win, because there's no incentive to do so, because it's not an esport or anything like that. So that's why I'm so scared of DBD taking that path. Now, I don't necessarily think it even will. I just wanted to give the insight as to why I'm so, worried about it going in that way. And mostly, I just wanted to go over the research I've been doing onto Evolve, because, I mean, these quotes are really interesting, because it's just so much stuff here basically has led me to believe that many people have tried asymmetrical games and none of them have really succeeded. And I think maybe it's actually not the devs' fault. I think just an asymmetrical 1v4 game with multiple different goals on both sides, no defined win condition, I think it just might be impossible to actually balance. And that's okay if your game is not super sweaty and competitive in esports and stuff like that, whatever. But if you're trying to make it like that, then you have to have that kind of balance. But every dev I've seen try this has failed, and I don't think it's like even possible to do it well. Every time someone has a great suggestion for it, there are 100 other people that think that suggestion is stupid. It's so hard to get a unanimously good view of balance to the game. And I can't even blame behavior for that, because I don't even think you can do it. The only saving grace is that it doesn't really matter, because the game is not taken that seriously. And that's why I don't want it to be taken that seriously. But that's it. I just wanted to go over a couple of interesting quotes from this dev. It was very interesting and a little chilling to read. But that's it, guys. See ya.